Hello, you guys, and welcome back. This is Wicked Raider 22. We're actually going to take a look at another free to play account that I have. In the previous video, we were talking about progression and how, especially for beginners, it can speed up, it can slow down, but it definitely makes a difference depending on when you choose to begin your account. So if you only have one account, honestly, you may want to think about starting a second one. Being able to expose yourself to the champions that you do is a game changer. And it definitely changes how not only you play, but how you think about your champions and the different combinations you're able to put together. Now, in this example, this account is only 11 days old. So, number of login days we've made it up to. So, haven't even unlocked that first progression champion. But I am up to level 28, and I can tell you there are a number of champions on this particular account that I have been able to acquire. So, as you can see, it looks really different from the other free to play for Wicked Raider that we show on a regular basis. And I'll be honest, a lot of these champions I do prefer. So I'm going to pick a champion. We're going to go down the list, kind of talk about the pros and the cons from a beginner's standpoint. And you guys let me know what you think. Of course, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that button and let's get started. So, Holsring. Holsring is one that I pulled not too long ago. And I'll be honest, guys, review wise, not the greatest reviews. I was a little skeptical, really, really nervous. The one area he got a little elevation in was Fire Night, but to be honest, I can't say I necessarily agree. If you end up pulling this champion in, you are in the beginning stages of gameplay. I built him out. I've been happy with the progression. I'm even going to run a battle with this guy to kind of show you what he does. He is one of our legendary champions. And let's take a look at this skill set. So first we start with rampant blows. He attacks 2 times at random, places a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns if the attack is critical. Now his damage is based on, of course, his ability for attacks. And this is pretty common in a lot of the champions I have been able to pull for this particular account. What it does force me to do is I have to go in and really be careful about what artifacts I'm willing to place on a player or a champion. So, choices as always. Rampant blows, I appreciate because, of course, it is attacking 2 times. The at random part is not always your friend, but he is a champion that doesn't require a lot of books. Second attack is going to be overthrow. Attacks 3 times at random. The number of times we love the at random, we do not. And this is, of course, on a 3 turn cooldown. Will ignore 25% of defense against targets under hex debuffs. Will ignore a further 25% of defense against targets under hex debuffs from the Banner Lord or Knights Revenant factions. A lot of the champions that have been added to the game recently, especially, they are very specific with certain groups. And this is something else that I think later on will become a much larger part of the game. So you have to really keep up with the skills of your champions and know where they're going to be most successful. For the third attack, we go into Witchfinder, and this is when it gets a little extensive. Attacks 4 times at random. So notice that first attack is 2 times at random. Second one is 3 times at random. And now we're here 4 times at random, and Witchfinder is on a 4 turn cooldown. Each hit has a 75% chance of placing a hex debuff for 3 turns. Kind of like it. Champions from the Banner Lord or Knights Revenant factions cannot resist this debuff. Each hit also has a 75% chance of stealing 25% of the target's turn meter. Now, this part of the skill has proven to be helpful. Steals 50% of the turn meter instead if the target is from Banner Lord or Knights Revenant. So you can see if you notice a champion is Banner Lord or Knights Revenant, it's probably going to be one of your go to champions if you are still in that early game. If this champion's turn meter is at 75% or more after the steal, places a perfect veil buff on this champion for 2 turns. Doesn't require a lot of books, of course. And then you have the Ascension. So if this champion attacks 2 targets under Hex debuffs during the same turn, places a perfect veil buff on this champion for 1 turn. Will not count counterattacks. Increases critical damage by 30% while attacking under a perfect veil buff. There are a couple of reasons why I think the reviews for this particular champion are so low. Depending on when you pull this champion, I think that's true for a lot of champions in this game. It's going to make all the difference in how they impact your gameplay. I was lucky enough after starting this account, I think on day 2, I pulled him. Let me say it again, guys. Day 2. So day 2, after of course starting with Aethel, we managed to get her up to level 40. Everyone knows Aethel as far as her skill levels. So looking at strike down, look at the number of books, divine blades, higher blessing, and of course she comes with an aura. Having these 2 champions really hit hard. And I'll be honest, I'm going to go ahead and run a battle with Holsring with you and kind of let you see at this stage of the game what he looks like overall. Now, campaign wise on this account, I've been able to make some pretty good progress, but we'll just start on normal. Let's take it down to stage 7. We're going to leave these guys in place. Of course, I have 1 person in there for food purposes. And let's just kind of look at what he does. What I do like in battle, he will not always be the first champion, of course, to attack, but the shields that he has, if you take a look and just keep an eye on the skills, how he's able to veil himself really quickly, his attacks at this level of the game are extremely effective. And we're going to talk about another champion that doesn't always receive as much love as I think they deserve, but it comes back to where you are in the game. Because of having him on my team, I have been able to go through levels of campaign so much quicker than I was with my first 2 accounts. I'll say it again. This is not a highly rated champion. I know in legendary scale, he's actually toward one of the worst champions for legendary. But if you happen to pull him, and it's all the luck of the draw at this point, if it is early game, do not throw champions away based on reviews. Run them a little bit before even putting gear on them. 58 seconds. So we were able to match our best time, 58 seconds on stage 7 for normal. Now, here's another thing. I have been able to run so many levels of campaign just using Holsring and Shaman. And Shaman is that other champion that I was talking about a little bit earlier. Now, what I will do is go in, not quite, I haven't made it to hard level. Let's take a look because we just actually finished normal with those champions. And I'll go back and run through and 3-star every part. But let's just see what this particular champion will do for us if we go in with a sturdy team. I am loving me some Shaman right now. Let's continue to build our shield guard and let's just see how we do. We're moving up, of course, to that next level of campaign. It's always nice to kind of start and see where your team is, how they have progressed. You guys were able to see his second attack there during that first round. So not having an issue, pretty hard hitting at this point. And this is early game. So early game, a lot of your legendaries that you would not otherwise invest in, I wouldn't necessarily say take them to 6-star, but I would definitely keep this guy in my back pocket. 5-star, I will likely ascend him at least to 3 stars. And if we're looking across damage, hasn't had to do a lot, but he's going to run toe-to-toe with those first 2. Let's run 1 more and kind of see how he does. So the next couple of logins for me will be all about making it through campaign. And as you can see, when he does attack at random, Holsring is bringing it early game, throwing out 8,000, 9,000 in damage at a time, not having to exert himself a lot just because of how this team has been made up. And you will notice, even as we're working through, Shield Guard is only having to do maybe one attack. Other than that, everyone is down. So he's going to stay toe to toe until we make it to a more difficult level. I would not sleep on a champion based on everyone else, but I'll say for me, for this account, Holsring has definitely been a game changer. Second on the list, and this is actually one of your login champions that you will receive, depending on when you started the game. If you were a couple of weeks back, of course, it was Deliana. You were asked to do those 7 logins, and that was your champion. Shaman was the next one in line, so I was able to pull her. Going to the reviews first, and I'm going to start doing this each time I do a champion review. Her numbers are not bad at all, are not bad across the board. They're really, really good, actually. But there are a lot of creators that do not like Shaman. And I think it's because of her skill set. And again, it's all about when you pull her in the game. As an epic champion, the one thing that you've learned or you will hear quite a bit is to hold on to epics, even if you have to place them in your vaults, because they will often have skill boost, which can be helpful for you. She does come to us with a couple of good attacks. Dispelling Blow is going to attack one enemy, has a 25% chance of removing one random buff from the target. She is an attack-based champion, of course, not requiring too many books for this skill. We go to Exploit Weakness. Attacks one enemy, places a 15% increased critical rate buff on all allies for 2 turns. Not bad. We like the increased critical rate. There are some champions that they will already come with a 15-20% boost. You can also add artifacts that can help with this as well. Of course, I have her currently for this skill in particular. So beyond the damage that she's able to do, I personally love Recall Level. So Recall Level 1 is going to revive an ally with 25% of their HP. Are there champions that do it better? The answer is yes. Are there champions that you will normally pull early game that do it better? The answer is no. I was lucky on my pay-to-play account to pull Dur the Hungerer, who as a reviver has proven to be really, really helpful. Shaman on this particular account has done the same. I have one other person, I think, on our regular accounts that does it, but not nearly as efficiently as Dur, and honestly, not nearly as efficiently as Shaman either. Shaman will also place a shield buff on the target equal to 20% of a target's HP. So it's kind of that assistance that you need to not only bring the player back, but to also shield them long enough so that they can be hit with someone else's heal and stay alive. And you can put this on a 5-turn cooldown. This is a skill that can be ascended, so they can go from acquiring 25% of their HP to 50%, which the more they're able to acquire or get back, the better it's going to be. And you guys have seen Shaman run on a couple of teams for a few runs as well. Now, when it comes to masteries for this particular champion, what I'm looking at doing is probably running supports, of course, and defense. And I've started out with max HP, just giving her a little bit of a boost because her numbers aren't horrible, and then taking it down to lay on hand. So increases the value of heals of champions cast by 5%. And this is when you're thinking about those revivals that she's doing, the shields that she's placing. I also want to put a little bit of emphasis on her defense. And I'm kind of, I'm between defense and offense. I want to keep her alive because she is supporting the team themselves. So that's kind of the rationale at this point behind this champion. By far, Holsring and Shaman for me have been game changers for this particular account. It's been nice to be able to run through new areas of campaign as we're finally making it to the hard level and just seeing the synergy that's created with our lead champion. I do sometimes change the order that you'll see these champions go in, but for right now, this is my campaign team. One thing I would like to improve, of course, is speed and quality of artifacts. So, of course, the more you're able to run, the more silver you have available to you. You start getting to those levels where the artifact type and choice is definitely going to make a difference. If you've come to the point and your account is getting a little bit stuck, take a step back, look at your artifacts, and think about where you could possibly do an upgrade to make a difference. The other thing I would definitely encourage you to do is to go in, run arena a few times, and don't forget to keep up with your great haul. Remember that those are going to be the stats that impact every single champion that is tied to your account. And you can't beat that bang for bang. The other thing that Arena will allow you to do if you're at this extremely early stage of the game, you get to see different combinations of champions that people have put together. So, guys, Holsring, Shaman, these are champions. I'm pretty sure this guy's going to pop up in a shard for you. So, we pulled him. I want to say he may have been pulled from a void shard. I think I got a random void shard. And when he came out, it was like, but it was worth it. And of course, Shaman from our 7-day login was our other champion that has definitely been a game changer for us. So don't sleep on a champion. Definitely use them a little bit. And there are a few more over here that I want you guys to take a look at. We'll save those for another video. If you've stayed this long with me, don't forget to subscribe. We are posting material Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. So there's always a little tidbit for the day to keep you going. If you have any tips or tricks for me, I would love to hear from you. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.